No doubt about it. Thank you, Ashley. And it's Tony Skinn on the other sideline for George Mason, now in his 3rd year at his alma mater. They ended a 4-game losing streak on Saturday in their win over St. Bonaventure, 71-58. These two teams met in the A-10 championship game a year ago. VCU won that one. But as we told you back on January the 10th, the Patriots pulled out an 86-80 victory. Earl Walton, Eric Curry, and Rick Crawford are officiating crew tonight, and we're underway with George Mason controlling the opening tip.
Well, you can expect VCU most of the time to play man. They played very, very little zone this year. Likes to keep the pressure on. They want this game to go fast. George Mason wants it going slow.
Here's that matchup we talked about. Riley Allensbach and Lazar Djokovic. And Allensbach wins the first matchup.
And he really forced his way to that left shoulder. So Djokovic is going to have to try and make him go the other way. That was way too comfortable.
Allensbach has averaged 22 points per game over his last 2. Here's Djokovic trying to answer, and he's fouled by Allensbach.
But you're going to see Allensbach here really forcing his way to get to that left shoulder of his, and he's able to get there. Djokovic got to cut that off, and then we had a great cut on the other side. Allensbach gets caught on that back screen a little bit late. Thought he had a clean block there.
And it's no surprise to see Lazar Djokovic at the free throw line. He leads the conference in free throws made and free throws attempted.
You beat me to the punch on that one.
I got it in there.
I mean, this guy gets fouled a lot.
Averages 6.5 free throw attempts per game.
And you got to keep your eye on Corey Mincy. He had a tough thumb injury. He was having a first-team all-league season till 6 games ago against Duquesne, and the team has not been the same since.
And for Mincy, it's his right thumb. And you see number 3, it's wrapped. But right now, Allensbach around Djokovic again.
Same thing. He wants to get to that right hand and take it to the right. Djokovic got to cut that off. Yeah, you know, you look at Mincy's numbers now, and it's hard to believe that he's been averaging 5 points a game his last 6 games. He has been not good, and he's still got great numbers on the season.
Yeah, we met with Tony Skinn before the game, and he said, look, the injury has pretty much been catastrophic for our team with the way that Mincy's played. He gives him a lot of credit. He could easily shut it down and just go have surgery, but he wants to keep playing as Allensbach scores again.
I'll tell you what, they are going to him early and often. You can see what this game plan is about. They don't shoot it well from 3, only average 6 threes a game, but in the paint, they can do damage.
Djokovic from the outside. And the rebound cleared by Mincy.
And this is, Tony Skinn is going to want to keep this slow. They're number 343 in tempo on the season, whereas VCU's number 60. So that's how they want to play. Slow, half court, get it inside.
Allensbach has scored all 6 for the Patriots. Shot clock's down to 5. Jahari Long puts up a 3. And Adebayo with the follow. Getting the start tonight for Fat Hill, and a great start for the Patriots.
Yeah, and Adebayo is more of a 4-man, which helps beside Troutman play the 3 spot. That's Jennings. Brandon Jennings can really take it to the hole.
Tough bucket there for Jennings, the sophomore and native of Richmond. Another sellout crowd here at the Siegel Center, their final home game of the regular season. There is Troutman from the outside.
And beside Troutman had probably his best game of the year against St. Bonaventure, 21 points, and he made 4 threes. And Tony Skinn told before the game he's better as a 3-man, and that's the position he's playing tonight.
Those 21 points, a season high for Troutman. Tracey cannot answer. Djokovic the offensive rebound. Now Tracey on the drive with the left hand, and he draws the foul.
You're going to see Adebayo go to the basket here. Nick Lewis lost him, had the box out on him, and just lost him at the last second. And then Troutman knocking down the three. And he's a good three-point shooter. He's been kind of streaky this year. When he's been good, he's been really good. When he hasn't, he hasn't.
Tony Skinn told us before the game that one of the things that's bothered him this year has been the slow starts his team has had. He said, we've got to overcome that here tonight. That was one of his bullet point keys to the game, and a very good start for the Patriots so far.
Well, you think about this team, Andrew. They were 18-1 when Mincy got that injury. I mean, 18-1. They had only lost to Virginia Tech, so they were on their way to an unbelievable season. Now they've lost 4 of their last 6. That puts them in a tough spot when it comes to the at-large conversation, but they could still go to the Atlantic 10 tournament and win that.
That Atlantic 10 tournament should be fun in Pittsburgh. Tickets available. It's always exciting at the A10 tournament coming up next week, and you'll see the semifinals and the championship game on CBS Sports Network and CBS. Nick Ellington into the game for the Patriots. His turnaround is good.
I mean, what they are doing in the paint right now to VCU is not something you see often. VCU got to put a little more pressure on them. They were entering the ball into the post way too easy.
George Mason is 6 out of 7 to start this game. Tracey, oh, good fake, and the finish. Tracey, one of 2 seniors being honored tonight on senior night alongside Barry Evans. Mincy looking for help, and now Allen's back on the perimeter. Ellington slips, setting the screen. Shot clock at 5. Nice move by Mincy, and he buries it. Mason can't miss.
Wow, really nice move, as you said. That beautiful crossover by Mincy. You know, you talked about their starts, Andrew. They outscored their opponents 6 points in the second half. That is a big number.
And outscored their opponents in the second half in 22 of their 29 games. Tracey for 3. And the rebound to Jennings. Dribbles right back in and draws the foul. But what a start for George Mason. Now, according to CBS Sports bracketology, is VCU's worst loss. They really don't have a bad loss. The problem with their tournament resume is the one quad 1 win. Now the good news is they finished the regular season at Dayton Friday. That's a quad 1 game. But this is what we mean about the bubble.
Yeah, and you know what? That USF win that they have is looking better and better because they just clinched the American Conference regular season championship the other day. But like you said, they could use another quad 1 win. That game, hey, they got to get through tonight first with it looks like a very game George Mason team before they start thinking about Dayton.
One game back of St. Louis in the A10 standings with 2 to play. St. Louis finishes with Loyola Chicago tomorrow, and then at George Mason on Saturday. Djokovic with the flush.
What a great duck in. Way too easy there, no doubt.
And some pressure here from VCU. George Mason has started this game 7 of 8 from the floor. Ellington calling for it. Allensbach can't get it to him. Troutman is fouled by Tracey with the shot clock down to 6.
You know, right now this game, Andrew, is being played. Here you're going to see that's a great duck in. Djokovic there. That was way too easy on Presley. They switched it. He got stuck behind him. But one thing we're seeing so far, Andrew, is that the tempo of the game is George Mason's. There's been no transition yet. Not that VCU can't play half court. They're much more comfortable when this game is going up and down with their athletes.
Starting to get physical out there. Jennings and Ellington banging around the post. Ellington goes up, draws the foul. And now each team has been called for 3 fouls in the first 6 minutes. It's actually the second on VCU, but it will send Ellington to the free throw line. Well, long before the playoffs, these athletes put in the miles, driven by the people who believed in them first. Geico presents a new docu-series, Miles That Matter. Follow these incredible athletes on their journey to the championship, streaming March 16th on Paramount+.
Now a little 2-2-1 pressure from George Mason. And now they're playing a little bit of zone here. They used the 1-3-1 the other day against St. Bonaventure a lot. This is a 2-3 zone.
And held St. Bonaventure to just 37% shooting. Djokovic had it poked away, but a foul is called on Adebayo. And for Adebayo, that's his second. Tony Skinn was wondering about his depth tonight. As we told you, no Fat Hill was looking to see who would step up on his bench.
And Braden O'Connor was supposed to be their point guard, was a preseason first team all A-10 player, broke his foot in the first game of the year, so they haven't had him all year. Now they go back man to man. Tony Skinn changing up a lot.
Hill step back three is good.
This guy, he's their best shooter, there's no question. He can really shoot. He comes off the bench, one of the best bench players in the nation.
Leads the country in scoring among players with 3 or fewer starts. He's made 2 starts this year and averages 14 points per game. And we've got a 4-point game here at the Siegel Center, which is loud. Another sellout crowd at this incredible college basketball arena. Conga down low, could not finish. Djokovic goes up to get it.
And that was a really good catch by Conga there. He's got to finish that one.
Jennings dribbled it off his foot, but it was last touched by Mincy. Looks like Tony Skinn debating a challenge. His team and staff quickly looking at the tablet behind the bench. And they are not going to challenge.
Well, that was right in front of him, too, so you got to think he had a pretty good look on that.
It's interesting. We were both under the impression that with the challenges, you had to do it right away. And now we've been told in meeting with the NCAA tournament committee and crew, Chris Rastatter, the head of officials, that they do want to give him a beat before saying, okay, let's move on.
I agree. They have been giving them a little bit of a delay, the referees, on plays that are kind of close. I've noticed that too.
Conga commits the foul, and it's already 5 team fouls on Mason. When these two teams met back in January, a combined 41 fouls were called.
And interestingly enough, Andrew, VCU gets to the foul line. They're 6th in the country in free throw attempts, and George Mason is number 30 in least fouls. So they normally don't foul, but this team is tough to guard without fouling.
Evans, wild shot underneath, and a foul is called against VCU. That's going to go on Michael Bell.
And this is for VCU, this is their very athletic team. They get smaller, they bring in Ward, they bring in Bell, they got Barry Evans. They have no center in the game, but they got some real athletes up front.
Mincy with that taped thumb brings the ball up the floor.
I mean, and Mincy, just to say how important he is, he averages 34 minutes a game. He's an important guy. Great cut.
And Long able to finish. Hill recovers, trying to go right at Mincy. He does, and lays it in.
And that's what Hill does. He comes in and he changes the game, which is like why Phil Martelli Jr. likes him in that role.
Here's Presley on the drive, rejected by Bell, out of bounds. It'll stay with Mason when we come back. 18-14, George Mason in front. 14, George Mason in front. And a moment ago, Ashley Nicole Moss with Tony Skinn.
Coach, we talked about those slow starts at shoot-around. Not an issue tonight, but how are you going to keep the momentum as VCU starts to find their groove a little bit?
Yeah, it's a game of runs in an unbelievable atmosphere. VCU does it well, better than most in the country. But I'm just glad that this team was available with the fight right away. That's setting the tone so far in this game.
Anything you plan on improving on in this first half?
Yeah, we got to stop fouling. I think we've been in the right base and had the right foundation, and late in the clock, we're bailing them out with some fouls right now. We got to be able to finish the possession without fouling.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Well, you take a look at here. Watch Jahari Long here. Stop it right there. He jogged. He kind of walked there, and Terrence Hill's got his back turned. Then all of a sudden, he takes off with a burst of speed and makes this hard cut. And Terrence Hill kind of he lulled him to sleep by walking him over there, and then boom, going. Really good play by Jahari Long.
The well-traveled Jahari Long from Seton Hall to Maryland, and now here with George Mason. Mincy, scoop shot. No good off the glass, and Djokovic gets it up ahead to Tyrell Ward.
And this is what makes VCU dangerous is every guy they have in the game except Djokovic really can bring the ball up on a rebound.
Here's Ward, rejected from behind. Troutman got a hand on that one. Now Mincy will slow it up and feed Kanga. Allensbach from the outside. Out of bounds, it'll go to VCU.
He's made 5 threes in his last 2 games, Allensbach.
And 5 of his 19 threes on the season have come in the last 2 games. Djokovic and Allensbach. That's where we started our broadcast tonight. Going at it again. Djokovic to the corner with 6 to shoot. And Ward had it knocked out with 4 on the shot clock. Look at our Reese's player profile of Corey Mincy, leading the team in scoring, 14 points per game this year. But as we told you, less than 5 points per game over the last 6 as he battles that thumb injury.
And he's still shooting a good percentage, and he hasn't made a shot. It seems like in a long way. He made one this game, but hasn't made a lot of threes lately.
Nick Lewis offensive rebound. Now Evans trying to go to work for 2. Evans on his senior night making his 87th career start. Allensbach sends it back out to Long. Troutman fakes the 3.
What a defensive possession for VCU.
Troutman now left alone for 3. And the momentum starting to switch just a little bit.
Yeah, VCU was really engaged on that possession, Andrew, helping each other out big time. I'll tell you, Mincy's a pretty good defender, too.
But Mincy's called for the foul. That's his second with 9:26 on the clock.
And he's probably got to come out a little while, even though they don't have much depth, especially at the guard spot.
Pleading his case with Eric Curry, but Mincy will come out. And Devin Booker checks into the game. Freshman from Philadelphia.
Not the easiest place to play with a freshman in the game who doesn't normally play that much.
Djokovic and another foul, and that's the 7th on Mason. And Djokovic is hurt. Slow to get up and now hobbling, oh boy, toward the VCU bench. Oh no.
Oh, that's a no is right. He knew it as soon as he came down.
Let's see if we can see what happened here on the replay.
Stepped on his foot.
Yeah.
You saw it right there, his left foot. He stepped on Conga. Right there.
Right there.
Oh.
He's getting helped up by the VCU coaching staff. Junior from Serbia, began his collegiate career at Xavier.
Man.
And played last season at Charleston, and he is in tremendous amount of pain.
You saw that ankle really flip over almost completely.
Very similar, actually, to the injury to Fat Hill of Mason on Saturday against St. Bonaventure.
Hopefully he can come, he's all right, because he is, for himself and for his team, he's an important guy.
There is Fat Hill, as we told you, out tonight with the ankle injury for the Patriots. We are tied, but Djokovic is still in pain, sitting on the VCU bench.
One thing about VCU, they do have a lot of depth, but they don't have anything like him on the bench. They have a lot of forwards, but no centers.
Ellington drives in and finishes.
You know,
strong take.
These kids coming off the bench, Conga, Ellington, they've been doing a really good job in this game so far.
Djokovic is now being helped on the VCU bench.
Looks bad.
And Ashley has more.
Yeah, guys, Djokovic in a lot of pain. As you can see, he's being helped back to the locker room, but he was on the bench for a few minutes, just absolutely huddled over in pain. Guys tending to him, obviously coaches focused on coaching the rest of the guys on the floor, but it was not something, it was definitely not a pretty sight. He is in a severe amount of pain right now. Interested to see what that report looks like when he comes back out of the locker room, if he does end up coming back.
All right, Ashley, thank you. And I think a lot of the air has come out of this building as they know what an important piece Djokovic is to this VCU team.
Yeah, I mean, they've got guards, they've got wings, but they don't have something like him.
And they average 35 points per game off the bench, which is 5th most in the country. But a lot of that is from the backcourt, as you point out, Steve.
Different guys, you know, they got Bell off the bench, they've got, but it'll be interesting.
Ellington, this time he can't get it to go, but he gets his own miss and misses again. Good defense inside by VCU. Ward for 3, it's good. Tyrell Ward stayed after shoot-around today and just shot 3-pointer after 3-pointer, and it paid off right there. He gives VCU its first lead of the night.
You know, it'll be interesting to see if Tony Skinn comes back with Mincy with those 2 fouls.
Allen's pocket 1.
Well, that'll keep Mincy on the bench a little longer.
He'll have a chance at a 3-point play when we come back. George Mason up by 1, and a short time ago, Ashley with Phil Martelli Jr.
Coach, obviously you felt the air out of the room, come out of the room a little bit with the Djokovic injury. What did you see from where your vantage point was, and how or who do you need to step up in his place in the event he doesn't come back?
Well, we all do. I mean, we're not built around one person or 2 people. You know, this group has been built around the entire group. So everyone's just got to play their game. That's all.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that is true about this team. They have a lot of interchangeable parts. But this kid here, he does something that no one else on this team does in terms of being able to post, being able to shoot threes. You see what happened there. He stepped on Conga's foot. And the other thing about him is he has shot 178 free throws this season. He's #1 in the A-10 and makes and misses, which tells you what, he's hard to guard. So, you know, I understand what Coach Martelli's saying. He's right, that's his attitude has to be, but he's going to be missed.
And this is a VCU team that has been pretty healthy all year long. They have not had guys miss extended amounts of time due to injury, and they certainly hope that continues in the case of Djokovic.
And here's a kid that's going to get tested now is Keyshawn Mitchell, number 22. He came from Bryant with Phil Martelli Jr. You know, this kid now is going to have some...
Oh, it goes in. How did that happen? Credited to Troutman.
Keyshawn Mitchell's going to get an opportunity now.
Which he hasn't had of late. He's been a did not play coach's decision each of the last 3 games.
Yeah, and he was hurt before that. He just hasn't gotten back into the rotation, but he's going to get a chance now.
Tracey from the outside, too strong. And the rebound. Ward with a heads-up play. Threw it right off Jahari Long. Great hustle from Tyrell Ward.
Yeah, Jahari Long made the decision to not go after that. He thought he could, like, box Ward out, and Ward just beat him to the ball. Ooh, a heck of a play.
Right off his head. Heads-up play. Hill thought about a deep 3 with 7 minutes to go in the first half.
And, you know, this George Mason team, in the games they've won, they've been great defensively.
Not there for Hill, and the rebound to Adebayo, who's out there with 2 fouls. Mason started 7 of 8. Since then, they're 4 of their last 11.
But you see, they're playing in the half court. They don't mind running that clock down to under 10.
Long left alone. Off the mark on the 3, and Ward able to grab the rebound. VCU looking to push. Ward working with Mitchell, and Mitchell is fouled.
It's a good pass. Keyshawn Mitchell sent the screen and then slips it right to the basket and gets fouled.
So Keyshawn Mitchell, the Brooklyn, New York native, will go to the free throw line. As Steve pointed out, transferred from Bryant, where he was with Phil Martelli Jr. A 63% free throw shooter on the season. Phil Martelli Jr.'s team has won 6 in a row here at the Siegel Center. Only lost twice all year at home to 2 very good teams in New Mexico and St. Louis. Both of them very well could be in the NCAA tournament. St. Louis appears to be a lock, and New Mexico right on that bubble. Six minutes to go in a very entertaining first half here on CBS Sports Network. Adebayo inside. Ellington the follow, and a follow wedgie. And it's stuck in a very strange place.
That is a strange place.
Very hard to get it stuck right there. And the possession arrow goes to VCU. Wow. It almost defies gravity.
Yeah, that's usually a little higher, it gets stuck there.
That is wow, like a magnet. A low angle wedgie.
One thing about VCU right now, they got 5 guys out.
Mitchell again with the left hand.
I'm telling you, he's a guy who's got talent, and he's going to get a chance now. He can make a difference.
He had 7 double-doubles for Bryant a season ago.
And he played his best last year in the America East playoffs.
And a steal. Jennings for 2. And Tony Skinn wants a timeout.
The 3-point lead, but take a look at Keyshawn Mitchell here. He's going to set that screen, and what's he going to do? as soon as the defender commits, he's going to slip in there. And that allows him, they were a little late getting to him. And then right here, Brandon Jennings taking it down. That's doing what he does, take it to the basket.
That was the first turnover by George Mason. VCU has only turned it over once. It's a 6-0 run for the Rams as they lead by 3, and Lazar Djokovic is still in the VCU locker room.
How about George Mason had a game this year, Andrew? They didn't have any turnovers.
Amazing.
It's only happened 4 times since 2004 to not have a turnover in a game. They did it against LaSalle. I mean, that's pretty much almost impossible. And they should go to Allensbach a little bit more now, especially with Djokovic out.
Long draws the contact. So Jahari Long will go to the free throw line after Mitchell commits the foul. So our CBS Sports bracketology yesterday, they had VCU as the last 4 in, then Cal won, and they now have VCU as part of the first 4 out. Again, very fluid, and this is just one bracketology, if you will, but you see New Mexico and Cal in, and San Diego State, which plays later tonight on CBS Sports Network at Boise State, is on the first 4 outside along with VCU.
You know, give or take a couple of spots,
Yeah.
all of these things are pretty close in terms of who's in, who's out. They all have the same teams there. And how about Mincy back in? I'm not surprised.
Whew. Evans tried to go up.
I'm not surprised Tony's kid brought Mincy back in when they went down.
And a travel at midcourt, the second Patriot turnover. But Barry Evans tried to make it a memorable senior night. How about where he took off from here?
He took off. He wanted to give it to Allensbach. I think Julius Erving would have been hard-pressed to get that to the rim, to be honest with you.
Mitchell to the corner, and Evans.
Probably their most inconsistent three-point shooter. Knocks one out there.
Just 28% on the season.
Oh, Barry Evans made a great play there.
And Hill is fouled on the other end.
Barry Evans, who was a great defender, by the way, saw that coming and came from behind to make that steal.
They beat Phil Martelli Jr.'s team last week in St. Louis. Second time this year St. Louis has defeated VCU. The Rams' only other conference loss all year was to George Mason back in January. Looking for some payback tonight. Largest lead of the evening for the Rams.
I think they got to try and go back into Allensbach again. They kind of gotten away from him.
And Lazar Djokovic is riding a bicycle to the right of the VCU bench.
That is a great sign. Why would he be riding a bike if he wasn't, I don't know, thinking of coming back, I would think.
Presley with the air ball. Jennings with the left hand. Oh. Mincy sees he has numbers. We'll take a 3. That big shot for Corey Mincy.
He has been struggling so much from the three-point line. This kid was 4 for his last 26 coming into this game. A lot because of that thumb.
Ward from the corner. Halfway down and out. And too many steps by Malik Presley. Well, here is Djokovic back out of the locker room. If you're just joining us, came down very awkwardly on his left ankle, but a good sign that he's at least out here, still has his uniform on, riding the bike, and we'll see what happens with Lazar Djokovic. But when he came back out and his teammates on that VCU bench noticed him, they all stood up, clapped, and welcomed him back. Such a big part of this VCU team.
Yeah, huge. Nick Lewis been quiet tonight. Tremendous, probably going to be the freshman of the year in the Atlantic 10.
He's been rookie of the week 4 times as that one is knocked out of bounds. Good defense by the Patriots.
That really is good defense there by the freshman Booker.
Approaching 2 minutes to play in the first half. And Hill lost it. And a foul committed by Ward. Well, coming up, AT&T at the half. We'll get you caught up on all the latest in college basketball, plus highlights and stats from our game here in Richmond. Brent Stover, Ice Young, Emeka Okafor, and Gary Parrish will break it down on AT&T at the half.
How about Mincy? Made 48 consecutive free throws at one point this year. You know what he should be thankful for? He should be thankful that you didn't call any of those games, because there's no way to make 48 straight.
I was going to say, you better watch what you just said right here. Let's check in with Ashley.
Hey guys, yeah, look, still no word on exactly what happened to Djokovic, or if he will return. But like you said, it's a good sign that he's over on the sidelines warming up. I spoke to a member of the VCU coaching staff, and they said, look, we know it was an ankle situation. We're still working on him. No word if he's set to return yet.
All right, Ashley, thank you very much. I'm sure Phil Martelli Jr. wants him back out there, but also has to think about what lies ahead with the A10 tournament coming up next week.
And Mincy with those 2 fouls going out now.
Now, you were lucky he made those free throws. You were sweating.
No, you were.
I didn't say anything.
It's contagious.
Evans can't rattle it in. Allensbach picks up the loose change.
And that time, you know, George Mason, Tony Skinn switches up defensively a lot more than a lot of people. He's played 2-3, man-to-man. That time he was in a 1-3-1.
Evans thought he had good defense, but a foul is called.
I was similar to Tony Skinn that way. We played a lot of, I worked for Rolly Massimino. We had like 60 different defenses. So I used to like changing defense a lot to keep teams off balance. Now some people say, well, you don't really, if you change up that much, you don't really play one thing really well. Yeah, but I like changing the tempo and the way people attack you.
You know, you change your dinner order a lot, too. Multiple times I've seen you order and then call the waitress back over.
You know what? You're not being
right.
You are right. My wife will totally agree with you. I'm the worst with that. You know what? You don't be so smart, all right?
Changing defenses and changing entrees. Steve Lapis.
I don't change my drink order.
I know that. Seen that's pretty steady throughout the years. Troutman's 3 off the mark and scooped up by Tracey with 1 minute to go. VCU does have its use it or lose it timeout. Tracey racing in for 2.
Strong move. You know, in that kind of situation, off a missed shot, you got to get back and you got to stop the ball.
Troutman, great dish. Allensbach is fouled with the shot clock down to 2. First, let's go back to that acceleration from Jadrian Tracey.
Yeah, nobody really ready on defense. They're backpedaling, and Tracey just attacks the rim. And then that terrific pass from Troutman to Allensbach.
8 points, 3 rebounds in the first half for the junior from Charlotte. As Barry Evans was called for that foul, and that's his third. So 3 first-half fouls for Barry Evans. Nobody set to check in, but it looks like Phil Martelli Jr. might call a timeout. And he does. Well, he doesn't get the timeout yet, but he's got the clipboard in his hand. And now he's got the timeout. With 17 seconds to go in the first half. So Evans is now on the bench with 3 fouls and 17 seconds on the clock. And Lazar Djokovic is now sitting on the VCU bench. Lewis goes back to get it.
Last shot of the half.
Into the hands of Hill, over to Ward, 4-3. Tipped up, Tracey, no, and that's how the first half ends. And what a first half it was. George Mason got off to a hot start, but VCU comes roaring back, and they lead by 1 at the break.
Yeah, I think that George Mason came out strong. VCU did a good job of hanging in there, and the fact that they're up 1, I think George Mason really did outplay them, but they're sitting here with a 1-point lead.
And Terrence Hill is with Ashley.
Terrence, you guys closed this half out nice and strong after a slow start. What adjustments do you want to see this team make going into the second half?
I think it's just our activity on defense. We got to put pressure on the ball. They're trying to throw it in and get us on easy layups. We just got to control that and play harder defense.
Coach spoke about the resilience of this team. We saw a lot of fast breaks, a lot of turnovers. You guys with a no-quit attitude. How are you going to take that into the second half when Mason makes their adjustments?
I think it's just a game of runs. We got to adjust to what they do, keep playing our game, and just stick to the game plan.
Thanks.
Ashley, Terrence, thank you very much. That's the first half here in Richmond, a 1-point VCU lead with Ashley.
Guys, yeah, look, I spoke to head coach Martelli Jr., and he said, look, Djokovic was warming up. We're going to allow him to play, see what he looks like. If he plays the whole game, that's a totally different conversation, but he is clear to resume in the second half.
Wow, how about that? Starting the second half was down in so much pain after stepping on the foot of a George Mason player in the first half, did not return. Then we saw him ride the bike and giving it a go here to start the second half. What a great sign for VCU.
Unbelievable, especially the way we saw that ankle turn when he stepped in the pain that he was in. Good for him that he's even, hey look, the fact that he's even trying is a good sign. Even if he can't go the rest of the game, he'll be okay.
Rams are 21-2 when leading at the half. The only 2 losses to New Mexico and at St. Louis. Trying to hold off a season sweep at the hands of George Mason.
And George Mason comes out here and they're running this clock down to try to keep this tempo as manageable as possible.
Allensbach double-teamed in the paint and still gets it to go.
I mean, like, they kind of went away from him the last 7 minutes of the first half, I thought. And the way VCU likes to switch, he had Michael Bell on him that time. That's what you need to do. When they switch, go to the big man.
Tracey hits from the outside.
He's their second best three-point shooter. Hill's the only one better.
At a career-high 26, thanks to 6 3-pointers in the win over Dayton. Allensbach cutting to the basket. Counted and one.
Really good offense there. Being patient, getting the ball side to side so that the help isn't there. They had been diving the pick and roll, the big man, the whole game. And VCU has not done a good job. Kind of got stuck there in no man's land. I think Nick Lewis has to fight a little harder to get over that screen. You can't just switch it automatically, because that's when a guy slips to the basket.
You mentioned it in the first half that Nick Lewis was quiet. He did not score in the first half. He's been in double figures in 4 of the last 5 games for the Rams. Tracey, 2 more.
Pretty good dribble move by Tracey, but where was the help?
Tracey in double figures with 10. Mincy had 7 in the first half. On the shot clock, it's inside 10. Long fakes the 3, takes the 2. And the rebound is grabbed by Tracey, who's fouled.
You take a look at this basket that VCU gets, Jadrian and Tracey going to the basket. But now watch here. Right there, Troutman is going to just wave at him. You got to step in there and make him kick the ball. Not good help defense there.
Tracey's senior night here after he spent the last 2 years at Oregon. I thought Phil Martelli Jr. had an interesting answer. He was asked yesterday about the meaning of senior night in the era of the transfer portal, and he said, look, it's not the same as it was in the sense that you take a freshman, he's a kid, and you watch him develop into a young man through 4 or 5 years, but you still gel and are still close with these players, and each team in each year is a new year upon itself. And he said, look, these guys love playing for VCU, and I hope that our fans realize that. And I think they do, but there's no question it is a little different than it used to be.
Let me tell you something. One of the things that we used to enjoy as coaches was getting these guys at 18 years old and then see them grow up in 4 years right in front of you. You know, that's kind of the beauty of being what a coach was. So, you know, I understand you're going to make the best the way it is now. That's how it is, but it's not the same.
Adebayo picks up his 3rd foul. Here is Tracey, had it knocked away to Djokovic.
Put it this way, on senior night, when I had Jason Lawson, Alvin Williams, and Kerry Kittles, they were there 4 years. Senior night just had a different feel to it.
And a foul is called against VCU. But a good sign here that Djokovic is back in the scoring column for the Rams.
That's a great sign.
That was his second bucket of the night.
I hate to keep going on it, and then you're recruiting them from when they're 16, 17, so you basically know them their entire lives.
That's definitely a big part of the difference now. Now you do look at Barry Evans. It's a little different for him and Phil Martelli Jr. as they were together at Bryant last year, but for the most part, it's a new era.
Pretty good job in transition that time by George Mason.
Lewis has been quiet. And still can't get one to drop, even though the VCU coaching staff was looking for a foul. And a turnover by the Patriots.
And good job by Jadrian Tracey there. He was ready from the weak side to take that pass away. He's driving it again.
Their 5th turnover of the night. Bell inside. Missed it in tight, but he's fouled.
The one thing George Mason has to be aware of is this game starting to move a little bit faster now. These last minute or so, they don't want that.
That's the 3rd foul on Corey Mincy. So the foul trouble is adding up for Tony Skinn and George Mason.
And you're talking about a team that only averages about 15.5 fouls a game.
Bell just a 50% free throw shooter as we give you another look at the tournament resume for VCU. Our CBS Sports bracketology has them as part of their first 4 out, but that's been fluctuating a lot in the last couple of weeks. And as we mentioned, VCU will have a quad 1 opportunity Friday in the regular season finale at Dayton.
Never an easy place to go.
There's a look at the foul trouble. 3 players with 3 apiece. Ellington on the baseline, trying to get around Djokovic, could not finish. 5-on-4 the other way. Tracey trying to go coast to coast, but he turns it over.
Good play by Long.
Now Mincy a transition 3. It's good.
Whoa.
A 1-point game.
This kid looks a lot different tonight than he's looked for a while.
And a foul is called at the other end. To your point, Lap, first double-digit scoring game for Mincy in the past 6.
And you're talking about a kid who's averaging 14 a game now, and that's only scoring 30 points in his last 6 games. This kid was on pace to be a first-team All-League player.
And Djokovic slowly walks back over to the VCU bench.
Yeah, but he's not 100% by any means, but it's a good sign that with a couple of days rest, he could be all right. I'd go back to Allensbach again. They've not, early on he had the first 5 points of the half.
Mincy from the free throw line. And Bell rips down the rebound. He wants to push. Jennings on the attack, slashing for 2.
Really, in the first half, Andrew, VCU played better when Djokovic was on the bench in this particular game with these athletes, Bell and Evans.
Terrence Hill is at the scorer's table for the Rams. And a whistle away from the ball, and that's going to go on Barry Evans, and that's his 4th. A big foul called against VCU as we have a media timeout. With our producer Matt Kushner, our director Chris Burns, Steve Lapis, Ashley Nicole Moss, our entire crew. I'm Andrew Catalan. Thank you for joining us for a good one in the A-10 tonight on CBS Sports Network.
Set out of bounds play, really good play.
And a foul against VCU. That is already their 5th of the half, less than 5 minutes in. Barry Evans is on the bench for VCU with 4 fouls, and that means Djokovic is back out on the floor. Ellington, and count the bucket.
And you saw Djokovic try to recover on that pick and roll. He was a little bit slow getting there. Just looked like he wasn't as mobile right there that he wants to be.
Now, Tony Skinn told us pregame who's going to step up on the bench without Fat Hill. Nick Ellington has had a nice game with 7 points. Only averages 4 points a game.
I think all these guys, Ellington, Conga, they've all, done a pretty good job in this game.
Hill for 2. Hill's got 9 points. Allen's back, going to the basket again with the left hand, short. Bell the rebound.
And this is where they're really dangerous, when these guys, Bell and Evans, get rebounds and push it, but then he turns it over.
But Long stepped out of bounds. It'll go right back to VCU. VCU off to a red-hot start here in the second half, shooting 5 out of 6.
Eric Curry having a little conversation with Tony Skinn.
Tony Skinn, the first George Mason coach to win at least 20 games in each of his first 3 years. 22-7 this season. Hill can't get this one to drop. Conga and Booker at the scorer's table for the Patriots.
I'll tell you, they've run this shot clock down the whole game.
Long's 3 won't go. It's Djokovic with the rebound. Bell, stop and start, but it won't go, and it's tracked down by Mincy.
And it was a pretty good box out by Ellington that time.
Ellington calling for it. Defended by Hill. He's got the size advantage. Bell came over. And now Long dribbles in. Ellington with the tip.
I mean, this team comes into this game not really having done much this year. 4 points a game, doing a nice job.
The season high is 16. He's got 9 tonight. Djokovic draws the foul.
I tell you, he looks pretty good on that move. I'll tell you right now. You see Ellington here getting really good position and a nice tip with the left.
What a journey it's been for him. 1,000 points in Ellington's career as Allensbach picks up his third. But from Meridian Community College to Eastern Illinois to Murray State, now in his first year at George Mason, St. Louis native is having a big night here at the Siegel Center. Hill, that's a deep three.
Another great box out there, that time by Conga.
VCU is 4 of 14 from beyond the arc.
And normally a very good three-point shooter.
Conga comes up short. And then Conga called for the foul. So now each team with 5 fouls here in the second half. Third foul on Conga.
Yeah.
Djokovic comes out again, so short stints for Djokovic here in the second half.
So I tell you, that last move that he made looked pretty good. It's gonna be good? Yes. Good.
There's a look at the foul trouble. Evans continues to sit with 4 for the Rams. And another whistle. Malik Presley called for this foul, so VCU will be shooting with every Mason foul the rest of the way.
And that's what they do. They take 26 free throws a game, number 6 in the nation. They draw a lot of contact because they got a lot of guys that can go off the dribble.
Ward bails out Tracey. Ward with the left hand, no. Long will take a 3.
Well, he's normally a decent three-point shooter. He hasn't been close.
0 for 4 from deep tonight and 1 of 8 overall as Jennings is able to connect inside. Troutman took too many steps. And a turnover by George Mason. This crowd has been into it all night long.
Steve Donahue, who's a friend of mine. He's coaching St. Joe's. Took over in September when Bill Lang left to go to the Knicks. What a job he's done at St. Joe's. Right now, the 3 seed in the Atlantic 10 tournament. Really, really great job.
No doubt about it, and that should be a fun event in Pittsburgh coming up next week. Chance of Let's Go Rams from the student section here at the Siegel Center. They lead by 3. Lewis is fouled. Lewis still scoreless on the night. That's his third personal. So that'll send Lewis to the free throw line as Jahari Long picks up his third foul. Take a look at our Jeep AP Top 10 poll. And you can see in action tonight, Florida in the first half trails Mississippi State, and Texas Tech, number 10 in the country, down against TCU.
You know, it's the first time we have in that top 10, there are 3 teams that are being led by freshmen in scoring. That does not happen very often.
Arizona continues to impress. Big win over Iowa State last night.
Arizona is really good. Big, skilled, don't shoot it great, but boy, they're good. And they kill in the paint.
A 2.5-minute scoreless drought for the Patriots.
This is the guy who's got to get him going a little bit.
Mincy throws it away. Thought he was going to the corner to Troutman. Instead, it's the 7th turnover by Tony Skin's club. Here's Mitchell inside, rejected. What a big block by Kunga, who does it again. Back-to-back blocks by Kunga. 3-on-1 the other way, Mincy, it goes.
What a great defensive stand by George Mason that time. They made VCU hold until the end of the shot clock, get 2 big-time blocks. Kunga with both of them there. What a great job.
And then Mincy is able to finish tough inside. Kunga, the team leader in blocks, and we've got a 2-point game.
And now they go to the 1-3-1 defense, switching it up again. You don't see 1-3-1s that often, which is something Tony Skin is banking on. But that's where you have problems in a 1-3-1, in the corner.
And Bell, the offensive rebound and putback.
And there also on the glass. It's a very spread out defense. You got to get to the corners, but you got to get to the glass the way it's spread out.
Just not aware of where he was on the court.
All right, take a look at Bell here on the glass. He's going to go all the way in. Nobody stops him. He's right there.
And then a sloppy turnover by the Patriots. Mincy is called for the foul.
Oh, it's his 4th.
Number 4 on Mincy. And he's got to be careful because he's already frustrated after the turnover on the other end.
Yeah, if he gets teased, he's going to be gone. They got to get him out.
Tony Skin's telling him to calm down.
And now, as usual, VCU is going to be shooting free throws for the next 9 minutes.
And it's Terrence Hill at the line for a 1-and-1. 86% on the season as we check in with Ashley.
Guys, in the huddle on the Mason side, Coach Skin was just stressing the importance of not giving VCU extra possessions. This is a good team. They're going to make their shots. Limit the amount of possessions by stop committing silly turnovers and silly fouls, expressing that they do not need the extra help, especially in a game like this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And those extra offensive possessions on rebounds, too.
Loudest it's been at the Siegel Center. Troutman with a shot to remember. Masai Troutman quiets the crowd for the moment.
That was an example of some serious athleticism.
8.5 to go. As we told you, such an important game for VCU, right on the NCAA tournament bubble. And this would be a brutal loss on their resume at home. Tracey for 3, yes!
I mean, that's a tough shot. You're George Mason. What are you going to do about that? Not much you can say. But this is danger time here for sure.
Booker from the corner, it's good. The answer for Devin Booker, just his 7th three-pointer of the year. And Tony Skinn calls a timeout with 7:45 on the clock. Back at the Siegel Center, where they corrected a Jadrian Tracey shot from a moment ago. Initially ruled it 2, but they went back. They made the right call. It is a 3, so it's 56-52 as Booker had the answer at the other end.
Yeah, we'll take a look here. You got Hill, who does the right thing, except he forgets he's guarding a guy who 7 threes on the year, but his name is Devin Booker. And no, anybody named Devin Booker, I think you got to respect from the three-point line.
Booker from the corner. It's a 4-point game. Officials are still at the monitor. When Tracey put up that shot, we called it a 3. They only gave him a 2. Then during this timeout, they made it a 3, making it 56-52, but there's still something they're looking at. Maybe they're looking at this inside. Tracey and Conga, yes. So it was Conga coming across and hitting Tracey in the face, and now this veteran crew of Earl Walton, Eric Curry, and Rick Crawford will determine if they want to call anything.
That's a close one.
Eric Curry is making his way over to us here at the announce table. Right, thank you, Eric. All right, it is a flagrant 1 on Conga, and that's his 4th foul.
Yeah, he hit him across the face. They made it. They didn't have a whistle on that in the first place. They just went back and got him for the flagrant 1.
Tony Skinn is saying, when did this happen? That's a tough one.
A tough one.
So Tracey will get the free throws, and it will be VCU basketball. It's a big turning point here with 7:45 to go. George Mason had some momentum after the Booker 3. And now Tracey will get a chance to pad the lead, but he cannot on the first free throw.
And the referees did that on their own. It was not an appeal by Phil Martelli Jr.
He might tell everyone it was, though. Make him look good.
Nobody saw that because the play was kind of somewhere else, and here was that play there. I give the referees credit. They knew something happened.
So Conga will sit, and it's VCU basketball. They now lead by 5 as we reset the foul trouble. Mincy and Conga with 4 for the Patriots. Evans continues to sit on the bench with 4 for the Rams.
I think if this league gets to 7 or 8, Mincy's got to come back in with the 4 fouls.
Djokovic cutting and rejected by Ellington. That is the 4th block tonight for George Mason.
They only average 3 a game, but they've gotten some good rim protection from these 2 guys, Ellington and Conga.
And a whistle inside. Bell and Allensbach got tangled up, and that foul is going to go on Michael Bell.
Give it out. We got to see what happens in this week. But you know what? I may next year disqualify you unless you wear suits to games. I don't like that. I'm not with all these, you know, I mean, the informal attire for coaches.
Wow.
I got to be honest with you. I've never said anything about that, but I'd rather it be like the old days, where the suit. Tony Skinn. I like what Tony Skinn's got to do.
So the Lappy Rules Committee will be meeting in the offseason to discuss some new qualifications. Very interesting. The scoop out here during the Mason VCU game.
The problem is you're not going to have a very big list because nobody wears them anymore.
7:11 to go. A 5-point VCU lead off the inbound. A foul is called. That's on Tracey, his 3rd. That'll be a 1-and-1 for George Mason. Third on Tracey. Troutman at the line. Both his parents were collegiate athletes. His mom, Sandra, running track at Harvard. Dad, Masai, on the track team at Kentucky State. And he makes the front end of the 1-1 as we show you again the A-10 standings. VCU a game behind St. Louis. George Mason still trying to sneak into the top 4 and get a double bye in next week's A-10 tournament in Pittsburgh. Troutman makes a pair. We got a 1-possession game. Djokovic back on the floor for the Rams. If you're just joining us, Djokovic hurt his ankle in the first half. Hill misses the 3. Troutman goes up to get it. Looks up ahead and he's got Long. Allensbach was coming too, but now Troutman, and they work it around to Long. Offensive rebound, Troutman.
Long has not been able to make a shot.
Booker then misses the 3. Jahari Long is 1 for 9 tonight.
Not going to get any better looks than those two.
Jennings passes off to Bell, dribbles right in with the left hand and finishes. How long will Tony Skinn wait with Mincy on the bench and 4 fouls?
If they don't score in this possession, I think he comes in.
Allensbach rejected. And Mincy right off the bench. Good call, Lap.
Thank you. Get lucky once in a while.
Djokovic sends it back up. Tracey straightaway 3. I think the roof would have come off this place if that went down, but it remains a 5-point game. And what was that?
Wow. That's brutal. You see Michael Bell here, really good athlete, driving it, finishing with the left. Allensbach gets it blocked.
But a very unnecessary turnover by Mason. That's their 9th of the game as you see Mincy back on the floor. 5:26 on the clock. He's got 4 fouls. Djokovic for 3. It's good! Largest lead of the night for VCU.
He shoots a very good percentage, doesn't shoot a whole lot of them, but he knocked that one out.
Rams are 21-0 this year when leading with 5 minutes on the clock. Troutman misses the 3.
They're in the middle of danger time now, George Mason.
Hill coughs it up. Threw it right to Troutman.
Another bad pass.
Troutman gives it back and Long steals it away. Into the corner. Mincy wide open. That's a big one.
Huge.
And the VCU bench is furious that they gave that one away at midcourt. There was no need to make that pass with the lead they had.
Really sloppy.
15 for Mincy. Hill for 3. Yes!
You can't give that kid that much room. I understand he stepped back, but Ellington's got to get up on him on that one. You know he's their best three-point shooter.
Whoa, Jennings and Ellington all over each other, and finally play is stopped. And we'll have to see how they sort this one out. Meanwhile, we told you going to break, a lot of contact and a double foul has been called. You see it here with Jennings and Ellington. knotted up, still knotted up, and then the whistle.
And in this situation, it's just point of interruption. So George Mason had the ball, they still have it.
And George Mason with 2 timeouts left. VCU has 3. VCU trying to win its 7th consecutive game at home in front of these wild fans at the Siegel Center. Mincy in the corner, 3 more.
That was a really good play. I got to tell you, they set that screen. That was set up a great screen on the weak side for Mincy.
He's got 18 points. What a welcome sight for George Mason. That Mincy, after all the struggles with the thumb injury, able to break out tonight. Djokovic at the other end, off glass too strong, but a foul is called on Allensbach.
You take a look, that's a great screen on Brandon Jennings there for Mincy to get to the corner. That was a really good out-of-bounds play.
Allensbach picks up his 4th foul with 3:13 to go. It sends Djokovic to the free throw line. Tracey returns and Tyrell Ward heads out. Djokovic trying to make it a 3-possession game. Cannot. Long has been cold tonight. Can he find something late?
Get into Allensbach.
Troutman drives. No. Allensbach, the putback for 2. 17 for Allensbach tonight. Here's Terrence Hill. Jumper won't go. Rebound Ellington, who's had a big night off the bench for the Patriots.
Yeah, Ellington and Conda have really been good off the bench. You got to think they're going to try and run something. Mincy and Allensbach.
Here's Mincy. Fakes the 3. Now takes it straight away. Off the mark. Allensbach had it, but a foul is called inside against VCU.
I think Hill might have gotten a little piece of that Mincy jump shot.
It'll be free throws for the Patriots.
But Allensbach getting great position down low there makes it so they got to foul him.
That's the 4th on Michael Bell.
See, Allensbach is working hard down there to get that kind of position.
Won't go. And the rebound to Bell.
Big miss.
And VCU walks it up. Time is on their side as we approach 1:45 to play. Djokovic and Allensbach. Been a big matchup for much of the night. Djokovic connects.
I mean, that is a big-time shot. You're talking about a 6'11" guy going into the lane off the dribble and fading away off one leg. That is a big-time shot. And I think his ankle's fine.
He's got a dozen. And a kick ball, stopping the clock with 1:09 to play. Barry Evans back on the floor with 4 fouls. Mincy off a screen. Mincy puts it up. No. Tipped high up in the air. Allensbach goes to get it. 1 minute to go. Long to the basket and a foul. Jahari Long.
Great drive there and finish, and from a kid that has had a rough game.
Michael Bell has just fouled out for VCU. And Jahari Long has a chance to make it a one-possession game at the free throw line. This is not a timeout.
No.
This is Bell fouling out.
You get 30 seconds, and the one thing that Chris Rathsatter talked about in the beginning of the year was not allowing these to drag out, get them back on the court when they're supposed to. Because people used to like take a timeout there. Not doing that. I mean, look at Djokovic here. Off one leg, fading away.
So now Jahari Long trying to finish off a three-point play and make it a three-point game. Yes, big one. With 58 seconds on the clock. Substitution for Phil Martelli Jr. Evans out and Nick Lewis back on the floor. And now George Mason calls a timeout. They are down to 1.
And interesting that Phil Martelli Jr. is going with a smaller lineup going down. He's got Djokovic in with basically with 4 guards.
Well, off the top of our broadcast, we highlighted the matchup down low between Allensbach and Djokovic, and boy, it's been fun to watch tonight.
Yeah, they have been disappointed. They're 2 really good players. They play hard. They know how to play, too, which is obviously important. And Djokovic, you know, he goes down, hurts that ankle as he does on that play there. He looked like he was going to be done before he came back with a vengeance. You just saw that one there off 1 foot. That was definitely a my goodness there, I'll tell you that.
17 and 10 for Allensbach. That's his 3rd double-double of the year. And Djokovic able to battle back and get on the floor after injuring that ankle and playing a lot here in the second half.
And now here's a situation where George Mason got to play solid defense, don't foul, get a rebound. Your VCU, it looks to me like they're going to go with 4 guards and Djokovic. This is a good lineup to try and get the ball inside because you basically have 4 pretty good three-point shooters around Djokovic.
The one man who's interesting tonight is Nick Lewis for VCU. As we told you, a favorite to win Rookie of the Year in the A-10, but he has not made a field goal tonight. So you wonder if he gets the ball in his hands here late, what the young man from Washington, D.C. will do with it.
You wonder if do they try and double Djokovic off of him. He's normally a pretty reliable three-point shooter. But VCU does not use this lineup very often. Now look how spaced out the floor is. Middle is wide open.
VCU using clock. 10 on the shot clock. Djokovic looking for Lewis. It's not there. Now 5 to shoot. Jennings driving in the paint. Jennings off balance shot. No. Djokovic knocked it out. Last touch by Mason.
I think they're going to look at that one. They might challenge that. I thought it was the other way, to be honest with you.
Tony Skinn is asking Allensbach, should I challenge? But Allensbach is kind of saying, I don't really know. I think Allensbach touched it last.
Yeah. They're gonna challenge it. No.
They are gonna challenge it. Ooh. You know, when it happened, Allensbach had that I'm guilty look. And then Tony Skinn said, should I challenge? And he was like, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a tough one because it's gonna be their last time out if he's not right.
Yeah, and it looked to be off Allensbach.
Well, for those of you tuning in for the San Diego State-Boise State game, you'll be able to find it streaming for free on the CBS Sports app or at cbssports.com/CBSSN right as soon as it tips off. That's 9:10 Eastern time. And, of course, we'll take you out there immediately at the conclusion of this game. And they have lost the challenge, the Patriots, and in the process, they lose their final timeout.
Yeah. And now you're in a situation where, you know, do you want to be down 3 with 8 seconds to go? I talked about this the other day in the game that we had. But I wouldn't want to be down 3 and have the ball knowing I've got to shoot a 3. I think the easiest thing to defend is a 3 when the other team knows you have to shoot a 3. I would foul in this situation. I want to drag these 28 seconds out as long as I can. Let's see how Tony Skinn plays it.
Hill, a very good free throw shooter.
He's playing it, so he's willing to take the ball with 8 seconds to go down 3. I wouldn't be, personally. And if you're VCU, you do exactly what they're doing. You run this thing all the way down.
Here's Hill, off glass. Yes!
That's why you got to foul. Because now, it would have been hard enough to be down 3. You're down 5 now. You're basically almost done.
Timeout VCU. But a team that is fighting to strengthen its NCAA tournament resume with a big shot late, thanks to Terrence Hill.
Yeah, that's a huge shot, and he's made big shots for this team all year. Shot clock winding down. And that's why you got to foul with 28 to go.
And he's been struggling last 3 games, averaging just 8 points per game. Tonight, Hill with 16 points for the Rams.
If you foul with 28 to go, what's the worst that happens? You're down 5 with 28 to go. Now you're down 5 with 9.9 to go. I know which one I'd rather be.
San Diego State, Boise State is now underway and streaming free on the CBS Sports app or at cbssports.com/CBSSN. We'll take you there as soon as we are done here in Richmond. Troutman struggling to get it in, finds Long. Long will settle into a 3. Front of the rim. Loose ball scramble, grabbed by Lewis. 3 seconds left, and that will do it. VCU wins 70-65. They improved to 23-7 on the season and 14-3 in conference play.